All right, so the first one that's really attractive is being able to laugh at yourself and not take yourself too seriously. Nothing is more unattractive than somebody who can't take a joke, somebody who can't laugh at themselves, and somebody who takes themselves too seriously. Like, and this is one of my, to me, this is one of my strengths as a person, right? I have a lot of flaws as a person, but one of the things that I pride myself in is that I don't take myself too seriously. If somebody tells me you don't know what the hell you're talking about, a part of me will agree with you. A part of me will say, you know what? I sometimes think I don't know what the fuck that I'm talking about. I sometimes doubt myself. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, like I don't know if I'm legit or not. Sometimes, you know what I'm saying? You have an imposter syndrome, but being able to laugh at yourself is so important. Being able to laugh at your flaws, even physical flaws, you have to be able. And it comes down to having a good sense of humor, and more particularly being able to have a dark sense of humor. Studies show that people who have a dark sense of humor are able to what's that word called, regulate negative emotions a lot better than people who don't have a dark. And studies show that people without a dark sense of humor tend to be more hostile and more aggressive, which is kind of insane if you really think about it, right? Because you would think that people with a dark sense of humor are the evil people, the ones that could hurt you, kill you, the ones that are committing the crimes. No, it's people who don't have a dark sense of humor, who can't laugh at the tragedies of life, that tend to be the most aggressive, that tend to have a harder time regulating their emotions. Another thing about having a dark sense of humor is that, like I said, it increases your coping mechanism. One of the primary function of dark humor, it's its role in coping mechanism. Individuals often use humor to navigate through difficult situations, stress, and trauma by making light of a serious issue. People can create psychological distance from their problems, which helps in reducing anxiety and making the situation even more manageable. This is why it's so important to laugh at our golden cows. We have to be able to laugh about shit. You got to be able to laugh about black people, about white people, about trans, about Israel, about fucking Gaza. You got to be able to have a joke about that, people. You have to, right? Look at me. I joke about Hitler all the time. Hitler, you know, like call him Hitler, man. I'm sorry, people. To all my Jewish followers, my fault, man. You know, like you gotta laugh about that, people, man. I sort of because if you have too many things that you don't that you say, yo, you can't laugh about that. Remember, I dated that girl that I remember the girl that had the secret fucking boyfriend with the long hair, right? One of the first red flags about her was when she told me that don't laugh about feminism, and I'm like, don't you made a mistake telling me not to do that. So I was like, baby, don't worry, man. I'll never laugh about feminism in front of your face. And I was like, by the way, why don't you never give a woman a watch? She was like, the Lexus, don't start. I was like, why don't you give a woman a watch? She was like, is this one of these feminist jokes? I'm like, no, I'm being serious. Why? She was like, why? I was like, cause there's a clock on the stove. Oh my god. And I would just fucking poke at that all the time, man. The reason why that is because most likely when you can't laugh about something, it means you haven't processed it correctly. It means there's still parts of yourself that haven't really accepted that thing that you're not trying to laugh at. Laughter feels almost like a air freshener for your soul. When you're able to laugh about something, you almost loosen the connections in the brain that allows you to process things with more clarity and with more meaning, if that makes any sense. But not being able to laugh about things suppresses it to your unconscious, to the point that you get offended when people laugh about it. True freedom is being able to laugh about the difficult things in life and look at it with a smile and with humor. It's very important, people. You have to be able to laugh about things. You can't be walking around with a goddamn lemon face, man. The next one is Oh, let me just even say this is that it also builds resilience. Engaging in dark humor can indicate resilience. It suggests an ability to confront and acknowledge the darker aspects of life. Like for example, when I went to the meditation retreat, my first one, my first 10-day silent one, I kept asking the teachers like, "Yo, why can't you kill these flies? They're buzzing on my ear. I can't meditate that way." And she's like, "Alexis, you have to accept them." I'm like, "Bullshit." And she was like, I didn't say bullshit. And I was like, "Look, Maria, that was her name. Maria, look, Maria, okay? How about this? I'll take the karma, okay? I'll make sure when you guys are gone, I'll kill them all. I'll kill them all." And she was like, and the lady that was next to her, she started laughing. And I was like, "Look, she gets it." And then all of a sudden, I swear to God, a fly literally flew and stood in front of me, between me and the teacher. I was like, "Look, look, look, they're here. They know what I'm talking about. Fuck these." I didn't say fuck these flies. But anyways, man, I was like, I can't believe these flies have more freaking rights than Kunta Kinte did during slavery, man. It's unbelievable. Next one, man. Anger when it's appropriate, right? I'm not, look, we're not talking about being a bunch of Terminators out there, right? And just being angry all the time. No. We're talking about when it's appropriate. You got to learn to use anger as a tool to inspire respect, as a tool to show people that you have one side, but that you also have a darker side. It's very important for people to know that there's a difficult side to you, that if they tap into that difficult side, you don't want to deal with me when I'm difficult. For example, it's almost like in negotiations, right? It's always better when you're negotiating to be a little bit difficult, to develop the reputation of being a very difficult person to negotiate with, because it gives you more room to maneuver. It gives you the ability to loosen up and to be nicer, and actually give back what you've taken. It just gives you so much more maneuvering, because when you start off really nice, it's very hard to all of a sudden get mean and actually people respect it. It's like a kitten that gets mad at you. You just laugh at it. But when you first start out difficult and then slowly consent some good nature, people will accept your good nature with more respect and not look at it like an angry puppy who's trying to growl at you, right? So anger is used to balance out your niceness. And I'm not saying to be, like I said, a bunch of Terminators, a bunch of Wolverines out there. No, we're just saying that there are moments when you have to show your angry side. People do things to see that. And people, like this is just how human nature is. People need to see the anger sometimes. People do things that they know should piss you off, and they have to see it. If they don't see it, what happens is that people become emboldened, they get bigger, and they start getting aggressive towards you and test you even further. The next one is an open and honest mind. Somebody who's open and honest, obviously. And this is why. When you don't come across as honest and open, people cannot trust you. Open communication is like an army that communicates. An army with no communication and no line of communication is essentially isolated and have no support from the rest of the campaign. And that tends to create lower morale in the troops, and frustration grows. And even if you give orders, people are not going to fully follow it because they feel disjointed. And this relates to relationships. When you're not good at communicating, a lot of repressed things start to bubble up. And you start to have other problems, like almost like stress. Stress isn't in and of itself isn't a disease, but having too much stress consistently and chronically will cause other problems in your body, other inflammations and other disbalances in your hormones and in your endocrine system, I believe, right? I don't know, fucking talking about that. And that happens in a relationship when you're not a good communicator, when you can't communicate difficult things, the relationship will crumble and will die eventually. It's 100% the most important thing in any relationship is communication. There's really no other more powerful one. The next one is being serious when it's appropriate. Serious. That means you gotta stop being goofy all the time. Stop trying to be funny. Stop trying to be Mr. Talkative, always trying to get a center of attention, always trying to be happy, always assuming that niceness breeds niceness. No. You got to learn when to have serious moments, serious conversations, when you're not being goofy all the time. For example, perfect example is Goku from Dragon Ball Z. Goku was a goofy guy. Don't get me wrong. He's a goofy motherfucker, right? But one of the things about Goku that's so powerful is that when Goku gets serious, he gets serious. And when Goku gets serious, people could feel it. Because he could be goofy so much that when he's serious, people could sense it. It's such a contrast. So you gotta have your serious side, and this is one of those things that you gotta balance it. If you're too serious like Vegeta, then you gotta have your momentary moments of goofiness and lightheartedness. But if you're too goofy sometimes, like a freaking, like Goofy doing backflips and shit, then you gotta have your more serious side to counterbalance, right? So it's not just seriousness that is attractive. No, it's not that. It's just that people need to see two sides. We humans have an understanding that people have multiple sides to their personality. And there's something deeply wired in humans that they need to see both sides to fully respect you. And there's something in humans that they know that when they see one side, they know that there's another side lurking, and people will poke at you to find out what that is. People are just curious creatures, and people poke to see what's going on inside of you, you know? The next one, positive and calm. A positive and calm attitude. Nothing's worse than being with someone who's always negative, always complaining, because emotions are infectious. This is the thing. Negative people are more than a dozen out in the world. And we should have sympathy for those who are born in rough circumstances and develop negative attitudes because of it. But there are those who attract it with their negative mindset. And you have to learn to avoid those types of people because they will change you from within rather than the opposite if you spend too much time around them, right? And these types of people who are very negative present themselves as victims. So you can see how they, so that you can see, so that you can't see how they sabotage themselves. And by you associating with them, you're going to develop their types of mindset. Because negative people will influence you with their negative mindset, right? And those types of people, you cannot try to help them. They won't change you. They're like a drowning man who will drown you if you try to help them, right? So what you have to do is, if you have that type of mindset, is to surround yourself with people with strong character. Don't associate with people who have a negative mindset. Associate with the generous. Associate with the positive. Associate with the resilient, right? And if you do that, it'll change your attitude. But generally speaking, those types of negative attitudes, anyone who's worth a cent will leave you if you have that type of negative, dark, constrictive attitude. The next one is positive sexual attitude. If you anyone who uses sex as a way to shame people, like for example, like people who what's that, kink shame, disgusting people. Like for example, people who shame women for having like really crazy fantasies, right? Like I've like women, oh, choke me. Like some guys legit think that's weird. I'm like, dude, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, how is that weird? Oh man, she's gonna no, like, dude, like you it just means you don't know people. Like people are very, like for example, where the fuck do you think, where the hell do you think the schoolgirl fantasy comes from, people? Some dark, like it's, I tell people, man, like don't judge people's fantasies, man, because if you judge people's fantasies, it gets really dark for everyone. It gets dark for everyone. There was one girl who was like, break into the house and throw me on the bed. I'm like, what the fuck? You want me to play a criminal? Another girl was like, what was some crazy request, man? So, like, she was like, buy a fake gun and point it at me while we do it. I'm like, what in the world? Or like, wear a clown mask and let's do it when you have a clown mask. I'm like, what in the world is going on? And this is the thing, is that a lot of people get with people who are very judgmental about other people's like desires, and the reason why that is because they're ignorant. One, they have a dark side and they're suppressing it. Nice try, motherfucker. Right? You're hiding something. That's why you're so uncomfortable with it. And two, they're just super judgmental, and being with them, it's not gonna be a fun experience, right? You got to be with someone who understands nature, human nature, that we are contradictory, that what we suppress usually comes out in the sex side, and also what's culturally taboo is usually attractive in the bedroom. It's just how it is, and that applies to almost everyone. What is culturally taboo is attractive, and yes, what's culturally taboo is not. For example, like the age gap. I get a lot of people talking about age gap, where they infantilize women, freaking 22-year-old women for wanting to date a 38-year-old super hyper successful man, right? Society infantilizes women. It's kind of insane, to be honest with you. I watch a lot of debates, and it's kind of crazy how people literally infantilize women. How and they say, "Oh, the poor woman, she's being taken advantage of." I'm like, first of all, a 23 or 22-year-old woman develops mentally, is more mature than a man. At least in terms of impulse control, women have way more control over their amygdala and over their frontal cortex, a lot more than men. Men are wild motherfuckers. Men are impulsive creatures. Women are not. So this infantilization of women, it just blows my mind, and it just goes against everything that I teach on this channel. How these women talk, oh, what about you manipulating the poor little girl that's 23 years old and that looks really hot and knows what the fuck she's doing? What are we going to do with her? I'm like, she knows what the hell she... Anyways, man, it's just a lot of infantilization of women that is so disempowering, and it comes from a lot of women too. What I believe is that people just don't like seeing older guys with younger women. That just don't like seeing that. Society just doesn't like old, powerful men. It's just how that works. We just don't like them. Okay? And so we don't like them, seeing them with the highest prize in our society, and that's a hot, young, beautiful woman. Of legal age, obviously, people. Which is funny, right? Like when you look at the let's find out what are the most search porn things, right? Most searched porn in United States. Right? Okay, so what we have here. Yeah. So they got double P right here. Let's see what Cali has. Asian. Look at Cali, right? They have an Asian fetish, people. Arizona has a deep T. Twerking, that's like the least vile one. Giantness, anal, hard, quickie, sex doll. Natural, thick Latinas in Texas. Okay, all right. Divorced, naked women. BBC in Chicago, in Florida. Big booty, interracial here, threesomes here. In New York City, foot jobs. Lesbian yoga. What cartoon? Oh my god. BJ. Okay, all right. Penis pump. What? Dirty talk. BBW. Yeah. Trans. Maryland has a lot of trans. Rim jobs. Hot wife. Yeah, these are things that a lot of people will deny that they search for it. They're gonna deny. They're gonna deny it, right? Obviously, you don't want someone who's fucking raising their hands and volunteering to tell people their kinks, but you want someone who's accepting of that. Because people who are not accepting of other people's sexuality tend to be very judgmental people, and people you just don't want to be with, honestly. The next one is attitude of comparison. This one is a freaking big detriment. When you're dating someone and they're always comparing you to their ex, and they always have that wondering eye, like, oh, that's a better version of Father Alex right there. You know, Father Alex looks like freaking Lenny Kravitz, but he's not muscular enough to be like Lenny, right? I totally get it. Yeah, Lenny Kravitz is my better looking version, to be honest with you. But when you're with someone who's always comparing themselves, oh, you know, my ex did that. Oh, my ex did that. Or even mentally comparing themselves, you're going to sense it. You're just going to sense it. It's going to be, you're going to feel like less than. You're going to feel like you can't satisfy them. You're going to feel like there's just something about them that they're not fully present around you. That's something that you could sense, and it does affect your self-esteem. And people like that are just people who are highly insecure. They derive their sense of their self-esteem more from other people's opinion than from themselves. And they're always going to blame you why they're not happy, because they think that the reason why they're not happy is because they don't have certain things. When in reality, your unhappiness is a function of how your mind works, a function of how you manage, of how you deal with pleasure and aversion, pretty much like that. And you fix that through developing a meditation practice, people. Developing a meditation practice will fix that issue. And you can do that by purchasing my course, Emotional Mastery, by clicking the description down below. Okay. By the way, people, I have an announcement. If anybody wants to start a TikTok with my video, if anybody wants to start or even volunteer to help me with my TikTok channel, I'm going to be putting a sign up sheet in the description down below. I am encouraging people to use my content and re-upload them on TikTok. I also have a lot of shorts, not shorts, but like YouTube shorts that you guys can use to upload, or I could teach you guys how to do it. But if anybody wants to start a mindful army of members who wants to spread my message to TikTok, because I feel like there's a lot of people on TikTok that needs to hear this message, there's a form in the description down below that you guys can sign up. I wanna have a little network. It's not gonna be paid, but it's only for people who are super fans, people. Okay, I can't do that, but there's just a lot of people that need this message. So click in the description down below where it says sign up to become part of the Mindful Army, and there you guys can put in your information, so that you guys can, I will contact you and I will show you guys how to do that, okay? And I will give you guys a list of videos that you guys can just upload anytime you want. I have a library of thousands of shorts, and you guys can just upload it. It's pretty fun. And there's like a TikToker that has my videos that they uploaded, and they're pretty successful at it. Yeah, anyways, man, let me know if you guys want to do that by clicking the description down below and signing up, and I see you guys later. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys ever want to learn how to use your feminine energy to influence people, learn how to use your masculine energy to become more assertive, and also learn how to blend both energies to improve your dating life, your spiritual life, honestly, your relationship life, your family life, your career life, this is the course for you. If I had to make a course for my nieces, I have two nieces, one is 19 and one is 15. 16. Holy shit. Oh my God, he's a bad fucking uncle. He's a bad uncle. Get him. Shut up, Melissa. You should get this course, right? And this is the course that I will make for them. So, for example, watch the curriculum, right? In the first week, we're going to be showing you how to establish a strong masculine foundation without letting it hurt your feminine energy. This masculine foundation is a source of who you are, right? It's your bodyguard. Without this, whatever feminine energy you create will be destroyed by the outside, because your masculine is your shield. So we'll talk about goal setting. We'll talk about how to develop a serious attitude. We're going to be talking about how to use more logic, how to use more goal-oriented behavior. It's more how to be a man. Now the next one is how to embrace the feminine energy, right? This one will teach you about how to minimize excessive masculine traits, developing self-awareness, healing abundant feminine energy, regulating your emotion, mastering voice qualities and facial expressions, surrendering control, and allowing pain to be felt. This is honestly, this will supercharge, like Kaioken, your masculine energy. After that, we have femininity in the workplace, and how to be feminine in the workplace without letting people take advantage of you, and the nuances of how women on power should behave versus women who are subordinates in the workplace, and even the dress code. This is based on psychology, people. It's kind of insane. I'm actually excited about this one. The next week, we talk about navigating the labyrinth of male and female friendship, and this a lot of women find confusing, so we talk about that. And how to identify envious friends, how to identify the good friends, how to keep male friends, and how to keep female friends. Week 5, we talk about how to release the burden of the past and stop and destroy mental projections. This is actually really powerful. And then week 6, we talk about how to increase your observational power so that you can read people better. And we have a bunch of bonuses. The course starts at $99, and you guys can pre-order the course today at $69 before it goes out. If you're watching this, most likely I'm in the meditation retreat, so most likely I will be praying for all of you guys. And just click on the description down below of the video. Right there, you'll see it, and you can pre-order that course. It's gonna be out by the end of next month or the beginning of February of March. One of the two, people, because I have a 10-day retreat to do, and I want to finish the course after the retreat, because I think the ideas are gonna be so much better. All right, man. I'll see you guys later. Pre-order, man. Oh, I'm closing the channel.